You've talked about wanting to stack some wins up, and now you've got 3 in a row against UNLV, Vanderbilt, and Dayton. Which one was most gratifying or pleasing to you?
All the above, all the above. Kind of building that way, you know. Like first we needed we played Louisiana Monroe right before UNLV, and that was not a pretty game for us, coming off a rough trip. So the UNLV game was awfully big for us to really feel like we're starting to turn us around. And so, you know, that was big. Vanderbilt, obviously, you know, an SEC team, and that's huge. So we feel like, yeah, we definitely, that wasn't just a one-shot deal, and we played great, and now we play a team that has been really, really good. So, you know, I feel like, hard to say who's the best teams or whatever, they'd have to play each other, but, you know, this team did beat Miami and Kansas and Belmont recently, and that's 3 awfully good teams. So very satisfying, but really, I don't know, they all feel the same. Winning feels really good, and losing feels really, really bad, and I think they're all the same that way. I don't think there's much of a difference.
Coming into this stretch of these last 3 games that you've now won, did you kind of feel coming into it that it was must-wins all the way for your non-conference, or how did you approach it?
Well, I mean, you could look at it this way. To me, there's 2 ways, and I look at it both ways. Every single game we play is a must-win, and the truth is, no game you ever play is a must-win, because, you know, it depends on how you want to look at it. So there's really no such thing in a way, and yet as a coach, I see every single game like we have to, you know, that's the way you have to approach it if you're a competitor. We have to win this game, and yet, come on, it's basketball, and no one wins them all since 1975, and I think it was 75. I think that was the last time, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you know, you do this long enough, you understand, and there's always more games, and there's tournaments, and but important, yeah, real important, yeah, these were really, really critical games. So I would say it that way.
Kendrick was talking about the improvement your team has made closing out games in the final minutes. What has changed in that area in recent games?
You know, maybe we've been in enough now that you start to get a feel for it and feel for each other. I'm getting a feel for them. Probably all of the above. Early in the season, everybody's a little skittish late in close games. You know, it's like you go the whole summer, you haven't, you know, it's hard enough when you turn just playing pickup into college practice intensity. That's a big jolt, okay, for every player. And you kind of get used to that pace, and then you go into games, it's like another jolt of intensity, and before you start to feel comfortable out there. And now you're talking about, okay, now late game, when the thing turns up all the way, and trapping and pressing and craziness, and, you know, everybody's at their full out for the last few minutes, and that's even another feeling that, and I think the more times you feel it and calm yourself down and all that, but even bigger than that, I mean, that's critical. We're going to need to be, because of course in conference play especially, you're going to be in a lot of close games. It's just kind of the definition of conference season. So we're going to need to be good late. You're going to need to take care of the ball. You're going to need to be able to make free throws. You're going to need to, you know, handle all the pressure, and at the same time you're going to have to get stops, critical stops when the other team's putting their head down and coming at you full speed, and you got to be able to do that. And we are getting experience doing that, which is great. But for me, as important or more important, is our steady improvement, and hopefully, you know, single-mindedness of all our guys, our staff and our players, that we do need to keep getting better and better and keep improving in areas so that those late games are a little easier. I like late games when it's a 10-point game and there's 40 seconds to go and we've got the ball. I like those a lot better than a 3-point lead and, you know, 15 seconds and the other team's pressing and all excited, and you want to try to get it to where it never gets to a possession. You know, you want to never get it to where a lucky shot, a lucky bounce, a free throw, if you can get it there, that's when you're really, really good. You don't play those. So that's my number one. Let's try to get to where we don't have to make a play. Of course, that's going to happen, and you're going to need to be good at it when it does.
What'd you think of Zurich tonight?
Oh, it was great. It was great. You know, I'm just not surprised. I know you have been saying, you know, he's a player. He's a player. You know, he's got all the things. Watch his career. He's going to have a great career, a long career, and I love coaching him. You can tell, without question, that he's not thinking now. He's not trying to please. He's just putting his head down. He's playing on instinct, which happens for everybody. There's always that process. We got him playing a lot of point guard, for gosh sakes. And, you know, hey, here's your first major college game. Let's go to Oregon and throw you at the point, you know, and Missouri, and okay. And you didn't necessarily always play point guard. And all those things. And throwing a whole bunch of, as a point guard, you got a lot of information. You need to know this and this and this and this. And we run this and this and this. And it can get pretty cloudy. And now he's getting comfortable, and he's a very, very valuable guy on our team. And hey, Jaylen, how's he playing as a freshman? How good is he playing? I mean, I just don't feel like they play like freshmen, and I've been saying that for a long time, and it's great. But I'm really happy for Zurich to see how his confidence lately is just, you know, has taken off, and he's become the guy that he is. And this is just the start for him. Michael Weathers was, you know, Michael was. Oof, great second half. Kind of forced things in the first half. We talked about at halftime, and because he's so explosive, but he just needs to make sure he's not kind of, you know, at the basket. Make sure he gets a good shot at dunk. He's so explosive, or kicks it out. He played so under control. Kendrick controlled the game as he always does. Kendrick gives you a guy that, what a valuable asset this is. That there's a number of times when a shot clock is going to wind down. It just is in a game. And when you've got a guy that is great at making a play and making a shot, that's pretty good too. That's pretty important. So we're getting better in a lot of areas. The team, I think, is starting to feel how to play together. I think there's a lot of room to get better, a lot. And I'm so excited about that. We've gotten better defensive transition. We share the ball 10 times better than we did 3 weeks ago. Spacing's getting better. Defensive intensity's getting better. Rebounding is still a concern. We'll keep working at it. We're not natural rebounders, and we're not that big, but we're going to have to solve that. So hopefully the next 3-4 weeks we can improve. We're going to need to improve in that area.
Along those lines of the guards that you just mentioned, you've said earlier this season that throughout the course of the season, the players will sort of separate themselves a little bit as you and your staff try to solidify your rotation. And you obviously use a lot of 3 and sometimes 4 guard lineups, but you've got 6 or 7 guards when you talk about the development of Jaylen and Zurich, who you have said deserve considerable minutes. How do you and your staff jigsaw this puzzle together with all those guards?
And Stefan hasn't played lately, but Stefan is a real weapon for us. He's got a, you know, if he continues to come on, he's certainly a talent as well. It's just that you can't play everybody, so you kind of got to figure out, you know, you can't just keep subbing and subbing and subbing. The answer is that's what we spend a lot of time trying to figure out, and they help us, but we always tell them this, that in the end, you earn your playing time. The players always think, which is kind of, well, it's not amusing, that's the wrong word, but players always think that the coach decides who plays. And I always try to tell them that the coach does not decide who plays. You decide who plays. You guys, your play decides who plays. The better you play, the more you're going to play. The more efficient you are, the more coach is going to play. The less efficient you are, the more attention to detail, the harder you play, the more you make others better, the more you play. The less you do those things, the more your mind is on us and not me, the more you play. And the more your mind is on you and what's in it for you, the less you play. The coach is just the guy in the end, just, you know, punching the ticket or whatever. But the players decide and earn, or the opposite, don't earn the minutes that they play. And I think so many times players, they don't understand that. They just look at it like, well, coach won't play. No, you're not. You earn them. And we do spend lots of time seeing who is doing the most positive things and who gels together the best. Another thing I'm really excited about, though, we do have a number of guys that on a given night can have a really good game. We have good depth. You know this. We have not had any depth for years. You know, partly the time when we had the limited number of scholars. They took 9 scholarships. We had 6, 7, 8 guys on our team. Never had depth. And then even when we came out, we haven't been this deep with guys that you have a lot of confidence in. We'd have enough people, but not guys that were playing this well off the bench. We have a bunch of guys that could be starters, should be starters. So even that, we have guys saying, it's fine if I don't start. Now, how about that? I mean, that's some character right there. That's when you're a coach and you love your team, when guys are going, I don't care, let him start, or whatever. Like, we just want to win. And when you get that mentality going, you got something. And that right now is where we're at. And you can feel it, and you can feel that they're coming together more and more. And I hope we can stay on this path, because if we do, we could be a pretty tough out, I think.
You spoke a little while ago about like the chaos, navigating the chaos at the end of games when a team is scrambling to catch up. But Dayton forced, I think, 3 turnovers in the last few minutes tonight. Was that an issue of concern for the way your team addressed the press, or just part of it?
One of the turnovers, not in the last 3 minutes maybe. One of the turnovers we made on out of bounds play off a timeout, and that one was my fault. Although they fouled Kendrick, he couldn't get to the play. He couldn't even get to the play because they were holding him, and they didn't. That was not called. But I made a mistake probably in the way I finished the play to get the ball in bounds. I should have just left the guy there and not tried to. I emptied him out. I wanted Kendrick to come out there holding him. He couldn't set his screen nor get out. And that's how we got that out of bounds turnover late. Late on one of those, you know, we were in the back court and the clock was going down. I was probably a couple counts late in trying to call timeout. They never heard me. Maybe if I'd have started a count, I just thought maybe we're going to get it across. And so that one's partly on me, really, in a way, although we didn't do it very well. So I take a couple of those, but yeah, we coughed it up a little bit. You know what? They pressured, pressed, trapped most of the game, right? We turned over 9 times. That's amazing. I think if I'm not mistaken, Vanderbilt game, we turned it over 7. That's 2 games in a row against real competition, and we're under 10 assists. That speaks volumes to me about our mentality, because turnovers are either selfish, meaning you're trying to do way too much, more than you can do, or careless, meaning you're just you know, you're kind of playing casual. And neither of those things are good. Neither of those things help you win. So the fact that we're having so few means we're definitely not being casual, and we're definitely not being selfish, because guys are starting to make the simple play. What we preach all the time, if you just trust each other and just let everybody have a simple play, good things happen. And they did. We shoot 52% from the field, 57% from the 3, and 75% from the line, and we turn it over 9 times. That efficiency would, if that game was your whole year, you're number 1 in the country in offensive efficiency, without a doubt, without a doubt. So we won't do that. Wish we would. It definitely won't look like that, but that would be number 1, and that goes to, you know, it's, to me, it shows what their mentality is, that they're totally buying into being a team, to making simple plays, and seeing how it does pay off for everybody.